Are you aware that the ancient Stoics contended that mastering your energy could revolutionize not only your mindset, but your entire existence? In our current fast-paced society, discovering methods to effectively harness and direct our energy is paramount. This video aims to delve into particular strategies capable of enhancing your mental acuity, elevating your productivity, and bettering your overall sense of well-being. These are techniques I have personally put to the test and incorporated into my daily routine, yielding substantial transformations. Make yourselves comfortable, and let us immerse ourselves in these transformative revelations if you find value. In what we are doing here, a small favor I would ask of you is to click the subscribe button, remain with us, as I will be sharing practical steps and personal anecdotes that exemplify these practices in real-world application without any further delay. Let's commence and unlock the mysteries of mastering your energy through practical Stoic wisdom. Have you ever paused to ponder what factors influence your energy on a daily basis? Consider this: the literature you peruse, the melodies you hear, and even the dialogues you participate in. This is the potent principle of selective learning, and how IT isn't merely about tuning out the clamor, but intentionally opting for sources that enrich our lives, harmonize with our values, and boost our energy. This method is firmly grounded in Stoic philosophy, which instructs us to concentrate our efforts solely on matters within our control and those that positively contribute to our personal development. Let's draw from a personal experience I previously shared. IT was an endeavor to declutter not just my physical surroundings, but my mental landscape as well. This wasn't a matter of discarding old possessions, but rather of refining my mental consumption based on the sagacity of Marcus Aurelius, who famously stated, "Our life is what our thoughts make IT." I began to scrutinize every piece of information I took in. Does this benefit me? Is it in alignment with my objectives? Is IT making me a superior individual? This procedure is not about adopting an elitist stance or being disdainful of certain kinds of knowledge. Rather, it's about guaranteeing a robust congruence between what we absorb and our life's trajectory. I once undertook a significant shift from listening to whatever podcast was trending to choosing ones that specifically fostered my growth. These podcasts were not simply space fillers for the quiet during a lengthy drive. I converted my commutes into periods of deep learning and introspection. And what of the company we associate with? The Stoics placed considerable emphasis on surrounding ourselves with individuals who epitomize the qualities we hope to cultivate. Following this guidance, I began nurturing relationships with mentors and peers whose lives were a testament to their dedication to ethical conduct and meaningful accomplishment. These people were not necessarily the most outspoken or publicly acclaimed, but they were authentic embodiments of their values. Being selective also involves being critical of the information we engage with. Particularly in an age saturated with data, I have made IT a habit to examine every source for its reliability, uprightness, and conformity with Stoic virtues such as wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage. This discerning perspective aids in making choices that are not influenced by the ephemeral but are founded on lasting principles. I urge you to assess your own inputs, the concepts you internalize, the voices you heed, and the philosophies you permit to mold your thoughts. Are they fostering a virtuous existence? Are they augmenting your energy in a manner that allows you to truly master IT, not just manage IT? Bear in mind, every fragment of information you consume subtly forms your character and your fate. In the course of life, much like a marathon, the way is not always uncomplicated or devoid of hindrances. The Stoic perspective on this is exceptionally perceptive. They impart to us that life, at its essence, is about endurance. This isn't simply the ability to bear hardship, but about welcoming IT as an indispensable element of attaining anything of significance. Stoicism does not assure an effortless life. Instead, IT provides a structure for upholding internal tranquility and resilience amidst life's unavoidable fluctuations. Let's consider the metaphor of the marathon. In an actual marathon, runners do not maintain a sprint for the entire duration. They regulate their speed, they administer their energy prudently, and most crucially, they persist in moving forward mile by mile in a similar fashion in life. Stoicism imparts the significance of pacing ourselves, managing our personal energies, and persisting through difficulties. It is not the velocity at which we progress that is of utmost importance, but our tenacity, our dedication to continuing regardless of the tempo. Now, let us bring this closer to our own lives with a concrete illustration. Reflect on any extended project you have embarked upon. Perhaps it was obtaining a degree, ascending the professional ladder, or cultivating a relationship. These are not sprints. They are marathons. There are instances of weariness, uncertainty, and the desire to surrender. But this is where Stoic endurance proves its worth. It is about acknowledging that these obstacles are a part of the journey. They are not impediments, but indications that you are on a path of development. Stoics such as Seneca would assert that it is not the lack of challenges that renders you successful, but our reaction to them. This viewpoint alters how we perceive our personal and professional lives. Rather than anticipating a smooth passage, we ready ourselves for a diverse landscape. We learn to preserve our energy for the long duration, to utilize our resources judiciously, and to remain unwavering in our commitments. And just as marathon runners employ strategies to manage physical fatigue, we can cultivate mental tactics to address psychological strains. For example, engaging in daily meditation or journaling can serve as our method of preparing for long-term challenges. Furthermore, enduring a marathon demands not only physical vigor, but also a formidable mental game. This corresponds with the Stoic practice of concentrating on what we can control: our thoughts, our reactions, and our attitudes. Just as a runner focuses on their respiration and gait, disregarding the applause or the other competitors, we too can concentrate on our own actions and reactions, rather than being diverted by external conditions. In adopting this Stoic marathon mentality, we also discover how to value the journey itself, not merely the conclusion. There is elegance in the struggle, growth in the challenge, and satisfaction in the perseverance. This does not imply that we do not strive for victory. It means we comprehend that every step, every breath, and every instance of persistence is a triumph in itself. The metaphor of the marathon, profoundly integrated within Stoicism, is a potent analogy that we can apply to nearly every facet of our existence. It is not simply about endurance when faced with hardship, but also about the consistent, disciplined pursuit of our objectives, regardless of the field, be it personal growth, career progress, or the upkeep of relationships. Suppose you are launching a new enterprise. The thrill and surge of adrenaline in the beginning can resemble the start of a race. Everyone is encouraging you. You are energized and the vibrancy is high. However, as the race advances, the onlookers become fewer, the encouragement fades, and you find yourself on a prolonged, solitary stretch of the path. This is where the marathon concept genuinely comes into play. It's about maintaining your rhythm even after the initial zest has diminished. It's about dedicating yourself to your business strategy, perfecting your tactics, and tenaciously conquering the obstacles that arise. In Stoicism, there is a significant emphasis on focusing on what can be managed and releasing what cannot. Applying this to our business scenario, you may be unable to manage market fluctuations or economic recessions, but you can manage your reaction to these difficulties. This might entail modifying your business framework, discovering creative solutions, or simply resolving to persist with tenacity and fortitude. Or let's consider personal fitness, a path I have taken and documented over time. Reaching a fitness objective is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not about radical diets or intense exercise routines. Instead, it's about incorporating moderate, lasting habits gradually. The Stoic method here would be to establish practical, attainable goals and then to persist day by day. It's about the daily regimen of opting for healthier foods, committing to consistent physical activity, and avoiding discouragement from daily variations in weight or ability. Here, the Stoic practice of equanimity, maintaining a serene and balanced demeanor, is immensely helpful. Another vital aspect of implementing the marathon concept is in our relationships, whether with companions, relatives, or our partners. Relationships are long-term endeavors that demand tolerance, comprehension, and unceasing effort. They necessitate that we sometimes tolerate people's imperfections and our own, to engage in effective communication and to evolve together through various life events. Stoicism instructs us that not every discord must become a dispute, and not every dispute must become a crisis. It is about the long-range perspective, constructing and preserving strong connections through steady affection and reciprocal esteem. In all these instances, the fundamental Stoic principle is unchanged: perseverance. It is about not being influenced by temporary hindrances or transitory triumphs, but remaining resolute on your course, just as a marathon runner modifies their pace according to the ground but keeps their gaze fixed on the far-off horizon. We too must adapt our approaches and strategies without forfeiting sight of our broader aims. The marathon concept motivates us to think in the long term, act with intention, and live with purpose. It is a prompt that meaningful accomplishments demand time, patience, and unrelenting effort. Whether we are discussing personal ambitions, professional pursuits, or our relationships, applying this Stoic philosophy assists us in navigating life with fortitude and sagacity. Integrity and leadership are not merely abstract ideals. They are concrete virtues that can direct us in our everyday actions and choices. Much like a compass guiding a vessel through turbulent waters, Stoicism, at its heart, teaches us that these virtues are crucial for leading a life of intention and significance. They are not about establishing dominance or moral high ground, but about continuously harmonizing our actions with our principles. Let's consider the function of integrity in our private lives. It is not simply about speaking the truth when it is advantageous, but also about being candid with ourselves and others even when it is arduous. It's about making decisions that are not just beneficial for us, but appropriate for all parties involved. I recall an instance when I confronted a difficult choice in my professional life. I was presented with a profitable project that would have been excellent for my finances, but did not coincide with my ethical principles. Opting to decline it was a true examination of my integrity. It was a moment where the Stoic dictum that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few once struck a deep chord with me. The decision to refuse the offer not only maintained my clear conscience, but also strengthened my reputation as someone who does not sacrifice core values for immediate benefits. Leadership, in a similar vein, is frequently misinterpreted. It is not about titles or hierarchical positions. It's about influence and the capacity to steer others toward a more favorable future. In the Stoic interpretation, leadership is about demonstrating by example. It's about embodying the virtues you aspire to see in others, such as courage, justice, moderation, and wisdom. Let's assume you are at the helm of a team at your workplace. Genuine leadership is revealed by how you manage stress, how you interact with your team members, and how you tackle challenges. It's about being present, not just in a physical sense, but emotionally and ethically. It's about being a constant presence, a fountain of support, and a symbol of responsibility. Stoicism guides us to lead by demonstration and to be the transformation we desire to witness. This is exceptionally potent because when individuals observe you embodying your values, they are more prone to be positively affected. This does not imply flawlessness. Rather, IT means being authentic and acknowledging errors when they occur. IT is about endeavoring to enhance not only yourself, but also assisting those around you in their growth. Moreover, these virtues create a ripple effect by upholding integrity and leadership in your own life. You motivate others to do likewise. This fosters a culture of reliance and esteem, whether within your family, your professional environment, or your community. Each act of integrity is a pebble cast into a pond, generating waves that reach far beyond the initial impact. In embracing these Stoic virtues, we discover that leadership and integrity are profoundly interwoven. You lead with efficacy by living with veracity, You cultivate trust by being trustworthy. This congruence of thought, word, and action is what forges enduring relationships and ultimately a rewarding life. Doubts can resemble apparitions in the recesses of our minds, materializing when choices must be made or when obstacles seem unconquerable. Stoicism, with its practical and well-founded methodology, presents a formidable instrument to banish these doubts. Careful planning. This Stoic practice is not about foreseeing the future, but about readying for it in a manner that harmonizes with our internal virtues and principles, ensuring that we are not swayed by transitory feelings our outside influences. Picture yourself confronted with a major life choice, perhaps altering your career path or relocating to a different city. These junctures frequently trigger a wave of uncertainties. What if matters do not unfold as hoped? What if I come to regret my decision? This is where Stoic planning becomes relevant. It requires taking a step back and assessing the circumstances, not merely from a position of anxiety, but from a perspective of sagacity. What are the genuine hazards? What are the possible advantages? Stoicism instructs us to dissect these decisions into manageable segments, to view them through the prism of logic rather than emotion. For example, when I was considering a substantial career change, the ambiguity was immense. Instead of yielding to uncertainty, I resorted to Stoic planning. I compiled a list of all potential outcomes, both favorable and unfavorable, and then I devised a plan for each eventuality. I inquired of myself, what is the most adverse scenario that could occur, and how can I ready myself for it? This systematic approach assisted in converting my vague apprehensions into tangible actions I could handle. It wasn't just about lessening risks, but also about bolstering my determination by preparing for all imaginable difficulties. Moreover, Stoic planning entails establishing feasible objectives and devising a step-by-step strategy to attain them. This process in itself is beneficial because it redirects your attention from fretting about what might go amiss to proactively addressing what you can set right. For instance, if your aim is to achieve greater financial stability, Stoic planning would necessitate creating a budget, pinpointing ways to curb superfluous spending, and possibly discovering new income streams. Each step is defined, attainable, and grounded in practicality. Another pivotal element of Stoic planning is the preparation for emotional reactions. Stoics are fully cognizant that even the most well-laid plans can result in unforeseen consequences. Thus, they also mentally prepare for how to cope with disappointments or hindrances. This is achieved through practices like negative visualization, wherein you envision the worst-case scenario and mentally brace for it. This may seem pessimistic, but it is actually about fostering resilience and emotional equilibrium. By contemplating these possibilities, you are less likely to be unsettled if they materialize. Stoic planning also implies revisiting and modifying your plans as circumstances demand. It is about being adaptable and malleable, not inflexibly wedded to a single trajectory. Life is unforeseeable, and our plans must be sufficiently dynamic to accommodate shifts. This adaptability is a key virtue in Stoicism, permitting us to uphold our composure and intention even when external conditions change. Persistence is a fundamental virtue in Stoicism, and it is something that genuinely manifests when we are examined by the challenges and hardships of our daily lives. Stoic persistence is not about unthinking obstinacy or simply enduring hardship. It is about upholding your trajectory despite the obstacles, comprehending why you are enduring, and grasping the larger intention behind your actions. Imagine you are engaged in a long-term endeavor, something that is dear to you, such as composing a book, perhaps. The initial zeal propels you forward, the ideas pour forth, and the pages begin to accumulate. But then, as is often the case, the forward motion decreases. You encounter writer's block, critical feedback, or other interruptions. This is where Stoic persistence proves its mettle. It is not about forcing yourself forward without thought, but about returning to your workspace day after day, realigning yourself with your objective of finishing that book, and reminding yourself of its significance to you. This manner of persistence is profoundly philosophical. It stems from the Stoic conviction that our actions must be intentional and in accordance with our virtues. When you persevere with an undertaking, it's not merely about completing what you initiated. It's about embodying the virtues of discipline, resilience, and courage. These are not just abstract characteristics, but practical instruments that direct your actions. For instance, discipline assists you in establishing and adhering to a daily writing routine. Resilience enables you to recover from hindrances, and courage allows you to present your writing to the world despite the apprehension of criticism. Moreover, Stoic persistence teaches us to concentrate on the process instead of the result. This shift in focus is potent. Consider preparing for a marathon. If you only concentrate on the finish line, the training can become an intimidating, overpowering endeavor. But if you focus on each individual run, each stride you take, and find satisfaction in the enhancement of your stamina and ability, the process becomes more rewarding. The goal remains significant, but it is the day-to-day perseverance that will lead you there. And that in itself becomes fulfilling. This methodology can be applied to conquering personal difficulties as well. Whether you are contending with a demanding job, a difficult relationship, or personal health concerns, the Stoic approach is not to simply endure, but to actively engage with the situation with wisdom and virtue. It's about asking yourself, what can this situation impart to me? How can I grow from this? This mindset converts obstacles into opportunities, turning the trials we face into chances to fortify our character and deepen our comprehension of life. And remember, Stoic persistence is not a lone endeavor. While the philosophy promotes self-sufficiency, it also esteems community and support. Sharing your struggles, soliciting advice, and learning from others are all components of the Stoic path. By doing so, you not only bolster your own resilience, but also contribute to the resilience of others. Reflecting on one's actions and decisions through the prism of Stoic principles provides a revolutionary perspective on integrity and self-leadership. This type of reflection is not a mere leisurely activity. It's an energetic, intentional practice that molds how we perceive ourselves and how we engage with the world around us. Stoicism teaches us that integrity is not simply about being truthful or morally upright. It's about the congruence between what we believe, utter, and do. It's about aligning our internal virtues with our external actions. Imagine you are confronting a regular day with its customary pressures and lures to take shortcuts or make compromises. Here, Stoic reflection becomes an essential instrument. It permits you to pause and inquire of yourself. Am I behaving in accordance with my principles? Am I treating others as I would wish to be treated? This is not about criticizing yourself severely or striving for flawlessness, but about pursuing personal harmony. When you reflect on your day through a Stoic lens, you concentrate on areas where you successfully upheld your integrity and also on instances where you may have stumbled. This is not to linger on the mistakes, but to comprehend them and discover how to improve self-leadership. Another key facet of Stoic philosophy involves guiding oneself with as much commitment and discipline as one would guide others. It's about self-control and self-motivation. Consider the discipline necessary to uphold healthy habits or to labor consistently toward personal goals. Each choice to rise early for a morning jog or to select a healthy meal over a quick, less nutritious alternative demands self-leadership. It's about making decisions that may not offer immediate satisfaction but are advantageous in the long run. This form of Stoic reflection also encourages us to be aware of our emotional reactions. Stoics are renowned for their emphasis on managing reactions to external events. When you find yourself in a stressful situation, whether at work or in personal relationships, the practice of reflecting on your responses helps you maintain your composure and be responsive rather than reactive. You learn to ask yourself, is my response commensurate with the situation? Am I allowing external factors to determine my mood and behavior? This mindful awareness is a form of self-leadership because it places you in command of your internal state not the circumstances. Moreover, Stoic reflection cultivates a sense of personal responsibility. IT reminds us that while we may not control external events, we have complete control over our values and commitments. When you reflect on your actions and their congruence with Stoic virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, you are, in effect, taking an inventory of your moral and ethical framework. This daily assessment helps ensure that you are living in a manner that not only yields personal satisfaction, but also contributes positively to those around you. In engaging in these reflections, we not only reaffirm our dedication to living virtuously, but also augment our capacity to lead ourselves with integrity. We become exemplars, not by proclaiming virtues, but by embodying them. Each act of reflection deepens our comprehension and our ability to apply Stoic principles to contemporary life. As we conclude our discussion today, it is vital to remember that embracing the prolonged journey of life is essential to practicing Stoicism. This philosophy is not about swift solutions or immediate gratification. It's about perceiving each experience, challenge, and decision as a component of a larger story that shapes who we are and who we become. This viewpoint assists us in seeing beyond the urgency of our desires or discomforts, concentrating instead on enduring principles and lasting fulfillment. Stoicism imparts to us the virtue of patience and the significance of viewing life as a continuous narrative, not a sequence of unrelated occurrences. When we embrace this long-term philosophy, our daily annoyances and obstacles begin to appear less formidable. This is because we are nitrogen monoxide, longer simply reacting to life as it unfolds. We are actively constructing a rich tapestry that embodies our lived philosophy. Every strand, be it a conquered challenge or a learned lesson, contributes depth and hue to the overall composition. Consider how this approach alters our comprehension of success and failure in the Stoic perspective. What is of importance is not merely the result, but the process, the way in which we strive for our goals and manage hindrances. By focusing on the long term, we learn not to be excessively jubilant in success or unnecessarily dejected by failure. Instead, we come to value each phase of our journey as an occasion to practice virtue, to grow, and to refine our character. This prolonged journey also motivates us to remain modest and receptive to learning. Stoicism does not purport to possess all the solutions, but instead provides tools to assist us in navigating life with sagacity and dignity. Embracing this journey means being receptive to learning, adapting and evolving as we accumulate more experiences. It is about acknowledging that wisdom is not fixed. It deepens and broadens as we persist in engaging with the world and reflecting on our interactions. Moreover, embracing the long-term journey aligns with the Stoic practice of concentrating on what we can control and releasing what we cannot. This is not about surrender, but about empowerment. It liberates us from the superfluous stress of attempting to control the uncontrollable and permits us to invest our energy in actions and attitudes that genuinely enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. In concrete terms, this might mean opting to invest time in relationships that are nurturing and supportive, pursuing careers that are in accordance with our values, or dedicating ourselves to causes that we hold dear. Each choice is a brick in the foundation of a life well lived, a life that reflects our deepest convictions and highest aspirations. Thank you all for joining me today in exploring these Stoic principles. Remember, the journey is long, but each step is a chance to reinforce who we are and what we stand for. Let's keep building, learning, and growing together. If you found this discussion enriching, consider watching one of the suggested videos on your screen to delve deeper into the practical applications of Stoicism in everyday life. I'm grateful you're here, contributing to our Stoic Journal. Until next time, keep embracing the wisdom of the journey.